All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD 1000 Web Development Technologies course, I've been creating a series of videos based on the Mozilla Developer Network's Learn Web Development series. And I'm in the Tools and Testing, Understanding Client JavaScript Frameworks, and I'm just about to the bottom of the React section. Again, we're not going to cover Ember, Vue, Svelte, or Angular. So I'm going to go right from, I'm here, and I'm going to go right from here to the Git and GitHub. So we're in accessibility, and it says in our final tutorial article, we will focus on accessibility, including focus management in React, which can improve usability and reduce confusion for keyboard-only and screen reader apps. At this point, we've accomplished all the features. Well, they have. Mine doesn't work, but you've already heard that. Yes, in mine, a user can add a task, check an unchecked task, delete a task, or edit a task. But my filter still does not work. And I will try to keep looking at it, and if I can figure out what the problem is, I'll let you know. All right. Exploring the keyboard usability problem. Start by clicking on the input at the top of the app as if you're going to a new task. You'll see a thick dashed line around that input. Well, that's true. This outline is your visual indicator that the browser is currently focused on this element. Press Tab and you'll see the outline go around the Add button. Okay. This shows the browser's focus is moved. Press Tab a few more times and you'll see it moves between each of the filter buttons. Keep going until it is around the first Edit button and press Enter. Okay. The To-Do component will switch templates as we designed. You'll see a form that lets us edit the name of the task. But where did our focus indicator go? So in other words, we can click on it and know that it's there, but when we click here and tab to it, all right, and we click first edit, we choose it. I'll try that again. Keep going until the indicator is around the first edit button and press enter. Let's try that again. Where did our focus indicator go? When we switch between templates, we completely remove the elements that were there before them to replace them with something else. This means that the element we were focused on vanishes and nothing is in focus at all, which could be confusing. To improve the experience for keyboard and screen reader users, we should manage the browser's focus ourselves. When a user toggles a to-do template from viewing to editing, we should focus on the input used to rename it, and then toggle back from editing to viewing. We should focus back on the edit button. In order to focus on an element in the DOM, we need to tell React which element we want to focus on and how to find it. React has a useRef hook that creates an object with a single property called current. This property can be used to reference anything we want to reference. As it says, it's particularly useful for referring to DOM elements. Change the import at the top of the to-do so that it also, in our to-do.js, so we're adding the useRef. So we had import React use state. Now we've got useRef use state. And I believe they're just putting them in alphabetical order. I don't believe the order in there matters. Could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Then create two new constants beneath the hooks in your to-do. Each should be a ref, one for the edit button in the view template and one for the edit field in that template. So beneath the hooks that we currently have in to do, which are right here. Now we've got those. These refs have a default value of null because they will not have a value until we attach them to their respective elements. To do that, we'll need to add an attribute of ref to each element and set their values appropriately to the appropriately named ref objects. The text box input in your editing template should be updated like this. There's the editing template. There's the input. So we added the ref. All right. Next, the edit button should be changed to this. So this is the edit button of the view template. The other one was the editing template. This is the view template. So easy to make mistakes in here. So we're in the view template. There's the edit button right there. Okay. To use our refs for their intended purpose, we need to import another React hook, UseEffect. So it's so named because it runs after React renders a given component and will run any side effects that we'd like to add to the render process, which can't run inside the main function body. UseEffect is useful in a current situation because we cannot focus on the element until after the to-do component renders and React knows. So change the import for our to-do again to add the UseEffect. So we've already changed this once to add useRef. Now we're going to add UseEffect. Oops. There we go. All right. UseEffect takes a function as an argument. This function is executed after the component renders. Let's see this in action. Put the UseEffect call just above the return statement in the body of the to-do and pass it to a function that logs the word side effect to your console. So put this right up above the return statement. To illustrate the difference between the main render process and code run inside of UseEffect, add another log, but put this one below the previous edition. So add another log after this one. Now open up the app in your browser. You should see both messages in the console, with each one repeating 3 times. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3. There they are for each one of the tasks that we have in there. That's it for our experimentation for now. Delete the console log main render now, and let's move on to implementing our focus management. Now that we know our UseEffect hook works, we can manage the focus with it. As a reminder, we want to focus on the editing text field when we switch to the editing template. Update your useEffect hook so that it reads like this. These changes make it so that if isEditing is true, which is this, React reads the current value of the edit ref and moves the browser focus to it. We also pass an array into useEffect as a second argument. This array is a list of values useEffect should depend on. With these values included, useEffect will only run when one of these changes. We only want to change the focus when the value of isEditing changes. Try it now, and you should see that when you click the edit button, the focus moves to the corresponding input. Let's refresh just to make sure. Let's close this. Come here. Tab, 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 tab. And you can see that our focus is now changed here, where previously it had stayed where we were. Okay? All right, let's finish this part, and then we will, for the more robust focus management, we'll put that off. Yeah, maybe we can't get the whole thing done in here. Let's take a look. At first glance, getting React to move focus back to our edit button when the edit is saved or canceled appears easy. Surely we could set up a condition. Let's try it now. It says update your useEffect so that it looks like this. And to be honest with you, I kind of love the way they put this, because it says this kind of mostly works. Head back to your browser and you'll see the focus moves between edit input and edit button when you start and end an edit. So let's look. Again, we will refresh, come in here, tab until we get there. All right, now we do come in here and we'll change this to just hello and we'll hit enter. And it does go back to the edit button. Okay. However, you may have noticed a new problem. The edit button in the final to do is focused immediately on page load before we even interact with the app. There it is. That's what they're talking about, I believe. Our useEffect is behaving exactly as we designed it. It runs as soon as the component renders, seeing that isEditing is false and focuses on the edit button. Because there are 3 instances, we see the focus on the last edit button. We need to refactor our approach so that the focus changes only when isEditing changes from one value to another. In order to meet the refined criteria, we need to know not just the value of isEditing, but also when that value has changed. In order to do that, we need to be able to read the previous value of isEditing. It says using pseudocode, we should be writing something that looks like this. The React team has discussed ways to get a component's previous state and has provided an example custom hook we can use for the job. Paste the following code near the top of the todo.js above your to-do function. Now we'll define a wasEditing constant beneath the hooks at the top of to-do. We want this constant to track the previous value of isEditing, so we call usePrevious with isEditing as an argument. With this constant, we can update our useEffect hook to implement the pseudocode we discussed. So reset it so it looks like this. Note that the logic of useEffect now depends on was editing, so that we may provide it in the array of dependencies. Again, try to use the edit and cancel button to toggle between the templates, and you'll see the browser focus moves appropriately without the problem we discussed at the start of the section. So let's go here, let's refresh, and let's see if that's there. It's not. Okay. It looks like it's not any place right now, but that's okay. I guess that's still better than having it, technically you'd probably want it here when you start, but you're not sure if that's what you want. So let's try doing what they mentioned. So tab, 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 tab. Let's again edit. We'll say hello. Just hit enter. All right, and it stays on the edit, as you can see. All right. Focusing on when the user deletes a task. There's one last keyboard experience gap. When the user deletes a task, the focus vanishes. So let's see if that's true. Okay, we've got these three. Let's add something. A new task. Add, boom. Now we're here. And when we click delete, it's down to 3, and he's right. They're right. There is no focus. Okay. Sometimes the place we want to send the focus is obvious. When we toggled our to-do templates, we had an origin point to go back to, the edit button. In this case, however, since we're completely removing elements from the DOM, we've got no place naturally to go. The next best thing is an intuitive location somewhat nearby. The list heading is our best choice because it's closest to the list item we will delete, and focusing on it will tell the user how many tasks are left. All right. So we want to import into app.js the useref and useEffect hooks because we're going to use them both. So go back to app.js, change the import at the top, or near the top, from that to this. Let's try that again. There we go. Then declare a new ref inside of the app function. Just above the return statement is a good place. Heading elements like our H2 are not usually focusable. This isn't a problem. We can make any element programmably focusable by adding the tab index equal -1 to it. This means only focusable with JavaScript. You can't press tab to get there. All right, let's add this. It says to the heading above our list of tasks. So this is going to be, we're going to change our H2 heading to this. All right, and that's the key element that's in there. Note, the tab index is great for accessibility edge cases, but take care not to overuse it. Only apply it to an element when you're absolutely sure making it focusable will benefit the user in some way. All right, again, we're running up here. We're up at 19 minutes, but since that's all that's left, I'd like to finish this up. We want to focus on the element associated with our ref. All right, this is going to require the use previous that we used earlier. Add it to the top of your app.js, just below the imports. Next, add the following above the return statement. Here we are invoking the use previous to track the length of the states like so. Note, since we're utilizing use previous in 2 files, a good efficiency refactor would be to move it to its own file and export that file. I'm not going to worry about that. All right, this is all we've got left. Now that we've stored how many tasks we previously had, we can set up the useEffect hook to run when our number of tasks changes, which will only focus the heading if the number of tasks is now less than it previously was. In other words, we deleted a task. Add the following to the body of your app just below your previous additions. I think they mean right here, those were the previous additions. So we only try to focus on our list headings if we have fewer tasks than we did before. The dependencies passed to this hook ensure it will only try to rerun when either of those values have changed. Now when you delete a task, you will see the dotted lines appear around the heading from the list. Let's try that. All right, we will refresh. We will add a new task. New task. We'll add that. So what they're saying is that it should appear around here after we remove that task. Delete, and there it is. All right, so we've now finished the React app from the ground up. Again, I did my best. The skills you've learned here will be a great foundation as you continue working with React. We are going to be doing a lot of this type of stuff in class. All right, in the very last article, we'll present a list of React resources that you can use to further your learning. So again, let me go back to here. And we will check out those resources in the next video.